Hello and welcome to News Central Now. I am Lekon Onobanjo. The top stories at this hour. Governor Fubara visits site of Inferno, promises aid to victims' families. Death toll hits 76 after heavy rainfall in Kenya. South Africa President Ramaphosa praises ANC's achievements ahead of crucial election. Details to come your way shortly. News Central Now at this hour begins in southern Nigeria, where a massive fiery carnage on the east-west road in Rivers State has destroyed more than dozens of vehicles, goods worth estimated billions of naira, and claimed an unconfirmed number of lives. The devastating incident happened on Friday night along the Eleme axis of the road, which has long been neglected, increasing motorists' risks. It was reported that the tragedy was triggered when the tanker navigating the dilapidated road was hit by another heavy-duty vehicle, igniting flames and an explosion. The ensuing inferno engulfed more than 50 vehicles on the road at a time, with some occupants trapped and unable to escape the fire, which spread rapidly. Meanwhile, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has visited the site of the tanker explosion that killed an unconfirmed number of persons. The governor was accompanied by the Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Disu, and the Commissioner for Energy, Maximus Umafo. Fubara, after inspecting the devastating site, directed security agencies to conduct a thorough assessment of the accidents to facilitate the provision of aid to victims' families. He also lamented the deteriorating condition of the LMS section of the East-West Road. And now to security matters. The Nigeria Correctional Service has been tasked to urgently remodel, decongest, and deploy monitoring devices at correctional facilities nationwide, including ensuring the conclusion of cases involving awaiting trial inmates in custodial centers across the country. This has become apt in light of the recent jailbreak at the Suleja Correctional Service located in the neighboring Nigeria State. Marvelous Obomano tells us more.
Over the years, concerns have grown regarding the overcrowding of Nigeria's correctional centers.
You talk about correctional center, and we can talk about the population in correctional centers. Yeah, the over 240 something. We know the total number. But the Correctional Service is not the only agency that have custodial rights and keep people in custody. We have about 19 of such institutions that people can be detained, but yet we do not know. Nobody knows, and I keep saying it. Nobody have that population of the total number of persons in Nigeria that are in detention facilities. Nobody knows.
This was a facility that was built to house 250, and obviously because of before the incident that happened, we had 499. This goes to what we keep talking about overcrowding in our correctional centers.
Despite the Correctional Service Act of 2019, which provides the way and manner custodial centers ought to be run, the number of awaiting trial inmates has continued to challenge the available infrastructure in the facility.
Obviously, we can see the walls are actually old.
It was the rain that put down a wall. So you cannot say it's the fault of the corrections. The corrections are using what has been given to them. So we are calling on the government to prioritize these issues, because if that continues and the pretrial detention issues keep escalating, we'll keep on radicalizing more Nigerians.
Although government has promised to ensure the return of fleeing inmates, many have expressed worry over the effective management of custodial centers sited close to urban cities.
This is a clear testimony. You can look at the environment. It shows that we need to relocate a lot of our correctional centers.
The Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Prawa at this briefing in Abuja has expressed worry over the inability to effectively implement the Nigeria Correctional Service Act of 2019, which has taken care of challenges confronting custodial centers in Nigeria.
If we had this implemented and people were actually visiting the custodial centers every month, I doubt that we would, and not just visiting them as a box ticking exercise, but visiting them to implement everything that the Act has said they should. I doubt that we would get to the point where we are at.
This could have been avoided if the right information, at the appropriate time had been disseminated with regards to the structure.
Data from the Correctional Service says that out of 78,621 inmates in the country, 54,177 are awaiting trial inmates. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboma.
Let's also tell you that the Nigeria Correctional Service has stepped up efforts to track down and recapture escaped inmates of the Suleja Medium Security Custodial Center in Niger State. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, said the government also would relocate some correctional centers to create better infrastructure and security. He made the pledge when he visited the Niger Custodial Center, where 119 inmates escaped following a rainstorm that damaged the facility on Wednesday. The minister also said it was imperative to relocate some of the correctional centers to a conducive environment. Earlier, Ogo Gechi, principal partner, Benita Law Firm, and independent resource person on security and justice issues, joined us on the news from Abuja.
There's nothing much again to say, because we have seen the evidence, though we know that this might not be the situation in all the correctional centers across the Federation, but there are actually correctional centers that are in bad state in terms of wear and tear because of long period they were built, most of them ranging up to 80 years, 70 years. So this is a source of concern to everybody, and I am glad to hear that the minister is already making moves to relocate some of these inmates from some of these dilapidated correctional centers to more recent ones that are stronger. But we are praying also that this wouldn't become a source of challenge in terms of continuation of trials of some of the inmates. So it is a good development, and we are looking forward and beyond what has happened at Suleja, and hoping that a mapping will be done, or if there has been a mapping done regarding the integrity of these infrastructures, especially those that are in remote areas that are not in urban centers, so that immediate action will be taken to rehabilitate them, and quickly too. That will be for the good of every one of us.
Away from that, the Director General of Nigeria's National Youth Service Scheme has inspired core members to embrace self-skills and become successful entrepreneurs. The DG made this known when he paid a visit to the NYSC orientation camp in Maiduguri, the Ondo State capital. News Central's Marikirawa completes the reports.
A sense of happiness and historic moment for diverse Nigerian graduates who are here to undergo 3 weeks of orientation service under the NYSC scheme.
This will be my first time being in North, because I've never been in a very long journey like this before. It's very nice seeing their culture for the first time, because seeing Hausa people, meeting with them, roll with them, that really is a really good thing.
I pleaded with the parents, they allowed me that I should go. By the special grace of God, everything will be okay. So having come into this place, I come to realize that Borno is even the most peaceful state in the in Nigeria.
I never knew I would come to this part of Nigeria. I've never dreamt about it in my life. But being here, it's nice, but it's what.
Director General of the NYSC and his team of lieutenants are here to make the orientation experience memorable for the young Nigerians. The DG assured all core members that none of them will be posted to security-threatened or unsafe community.
I'm very sure you're aware there are thousands of youth out there that wants to be here with you. They have not been fortunate to be here. For that reason, you need to be congratulated.
The Director General highlighted the risks and dangers of embarking on illegal journeys by the core members.
We are encouraging the core members here who are in the orientation camp to key into this skill acquisition and entrepreneurship program so that they can learn, if possible, they can be employers of labor instead of waiting to be employed.
A total of 1,162 core members are said to be registered for the 2024 Batch A Stream 2 orientation exercise, which comprises 622 male and 550 females in Borno.
I am of the belief that if the gentlemen core member carry on as it is, core members posted to Ondo State will be one of the best in Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Physical training, drills, lectures on the people of the host state, skill acquisition programs are some of the activities core members are expected to undergo to equip them for their primary assignments, community service, among others for the betterment of the society. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
To politics now. Ahead of the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State, the African Action Congress and the Young Progressives Party availed their primaries to produce candidates that will represent their parties. Earlier this week, former deputy governor to the late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, Ajayi Agbola, won the People's Democratic Party governorship primary. Also, incumbent Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa won the All Progressives Congress governorship primary. Speaking with News Central's Niyomoni, who has been monitoring the various party primaries in the state, the governorship candidate of the AAC party, Adekunle Ajayi, said other contenders are incompetent. Similarly, YPP candidate John Otitoju Akimurele believes he is up to the task.
We also want to make Ondo State so attractive that doctors will not be going abroad. Doctors in Zamfara, in Sokoto, and a lot of other places will say, I'm going to Ondo State. You understand what I'm saying? There was a point in time where people were coming to Ondo State to give birth. You get it? So we're going to make the state more attractive than what you have then. We are going to be building not just hospitals, advanced healthcare situation, a situation where we are going to be having primary, you get it, secondary and tertiary healthcare. Both have no experience because the person they were deputizing, Rotimi Akeredolu, they deputized, is one of the governments that have been so irresponsible to the people of the state. So there's no experience of doing anything positive. All of the experiences they have are negative experiences.
With the mandate you have given me, I want to assure you that we are taking back our generation. And I want to tell you that you need to stand up and fight for our generation. If we refuse to do it, then we have failed ourselves. And I pray that we will not fail ourselves. I woke up this morning, I look around, and I said to myself, I said to nobles around, I said to the officials around, I said to everyone around that do not be afraid. Do not what? Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid of them.
Earlier, News Central's correspondent Niyomoni, who has been monitoring the proceedings, spoke to us from Ondo State.
The YPP candidates ended with when he was speaking today at the primaries, where he said, "We are not afraid." That phrase is particularly very, very important to that kind of party and other parties that don't fall within the APC and the PDP, because if we look at the statistics, back in 2020, we do know that the African Action Congress came 8th, just polling just 0.14% of the total votes, and the YPP, which was the last one we heard there, came 12th with just 0.07 votes. And I do remember then that the state chairman was the candidate at the time that also contested against the late His Excellency Rotimi Akeredolu. But let's come back to today. For the African Action Congress, they have chosen their candidate in the person of Adekunle Ajayi, who has been very, very strong with his words of affirmation that They need to take back Ondo State from, in his words, incompetent leaders, from leaders who have not done so much, from leaders who have not been able to put Ondo and maximize what Ondo has to offer to its people. And when I was speaking with him today, I asked him, what are his chances of going against the big wigs, the ones who have been there, they understand the polity, and in fact, they've been deputies. And you could hear it from his own statement, because that particular statement was a response to the question we asked, saying that they were part of a government, speaking about the late Rotimi Akeredolu, they were part of a government that was also irresponsible in their own words, and they are here to rectify. Now, let's come back to the YPP, which is in the person who has a candidate in John Akinmunrile. He mentioned that it is time for the youth to gear up. It is time for the youth to take back their possession. I don't know how this will roll, but of course, the decider will be the November 16 election. But of course, from statistics, we do know that these two parties do not even fall within the first 5 or the first 7 of elections so far. But that does not take away the fact that they do not have people who believe in them, who believe in what they can do. But we would only get to know when the results comes out.
Well, definitely we'll be talking more about this on the news, but then we'll go on a short break right now. When we return, we'll get into it. Many thanks for staying with us. Before going on a break, we talked about the various political parties in Ondo State that have held their primaries and what that will portend for the political landscape in Ondo State, most especially the gubernatorial elections that will be coming up in November. And to discuss more about this from Ondo State, we have, of course, a political analyst and a legal practitioner, Alan Showore. Alan Showore, it's nice to have you around. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to join you.
So for you, what factors would you say are likely to influence the outcome of the Ondo State governorship election in November, considering the results of the recent party primaries?
Yeah, the first factor that will affect the outcome of the November 16 election, governorship election in Ondo State, is the platform, which is the political party. You know, in Nigeria, there is no independent candidature. So the structure, the cohesion, and the goodwill of a political party will go a long way to affect the candidate. Then secondly is the experience, in other words, the persons who are being fixed as candidate of these various parties, their experiences or their capacity, their ability, their passion, their character will equally go a long way. The third one is the power of incumbency. The man who is in charge, in other words, the party who is the ruling party enjoys some leverage of privileges that person who is coming to unseat him may have to go extra length to do that successfully. And the other one is the people. The people are the center of democracy. So the good people of Ondo State will be determining who they want. So these are the few factors that I feel. But apart from these two, you know the election globally has to do with resources. How much the party, the candidate can deploy resources will go a long way to determine who eventually will emerge as the governor of Ondo State come November 16, 2024.
Okay, so before we look at the power of incumbency, let's quickly look at the candidate or the flag bearer for the People's Democratic Party, that is Ajayi Adola. Of course, you've talked more about him, or you've talked about the various candidates, but then let's look at him as a person, because he was a former deputy governor to the late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Do you think that in a way could give an impact to his political ambition in the state? So do you think it will change any dynamics in the gubernatorial elections that will be coming up in November for him?
Yeah, thank you very much. For the good people of Ondo State, since his emergence as the candidate of the PDP, the general consensus has been that this election is actually between two people who have one time or the other served as the deputy governor of the late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, STN of blessed memory. I fortunately work with Akeredolu, Agbola Ajayi, and now I'm in APC, and I know majority of these people very well. So his experience, his person, will come to bear, as a matter of fact.
Okay, let's now look at Lucky Aiyedatiwa, one of the yardsticks for judging which area or which party votes will sway in its favor is what the APC has done in Ondo State in the last couple of years, and how Lucky Aiyedatiwa has channeled governance in the couple of months that he has been in charge. So for the candidates of the APC, do you see anything changing? Do you think he would have that political strength to retain power in the state?
Yeah, I did mention when at the beginning of this conversation that the platform matters. If you look at the history of Ondo State since 1999, the only time the PDP has won election was in 2003 through Dr. Olusegun Agagu. Thereafter, it has been a little bit difficult for any other political party to win an election apart from Labour Party. And later, the then governor who came on the platform of Labour Party through the Court of Appeal in Benin rejoined the PDP. But ever since, all attempts by the People Democratic Party to win major election in Ondo State has been very difficult. So for that party, there is a ruling party, there is a ruling at the national level that has the incumbent governor as their candidate. It's a lot of advantage and a lot of privilege for them. It will be very difficult, if not impossible, for anybody who is coming to challenge them without working hard and all of that to unseat the incumbent.
So you've talked about working hard, and one statement stands out, and that was from Adekunle Ajayi, that is the AAC candidate, saying that other contenders are incompetent. So that is from his own perception how he decides to judge how APC and other parties have the strength and what they've been able to do in the state in the last couple of years. So do you think that in any way could change the perception of the voters and, of course, their decision-making in the coming election?
Yeah, when you talk about incompetence, it's a nebulous terms. But for me as a lawyer, I want to see maybe what it's talking about is qualification. And the qualification for a governor, according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, Section 197, the first is that you must be a citizen of Nigeria. Second is that you must be at least age 35. The third is that you are a member of a political party and you are being sponsored by that political party. The fourth is the fact that you are educated up to secondary school level or its equivalent. The majority of political parties that conducted their primaries have checked their background, including the Zeni Labour Party that produced the younger brother of the past governor, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko. All of them are relatively look like they are 40 years and above. Majority of them, if not first degree, they have second degree. We have some of them that are even have third degree. So for me, the candidates of these various political parties must start working hard to convince the people rather than looking for disqualification, quote unquote, which by the Nigeria electoral law, many a time is a mirage, because by virtue of the Constitution and plethora of judgment, particularly the Supreme Court judgment, what you have to contest for governorship or president in Nigeria is an affidavit that you attended school.
Okay, Alan Showere, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
Thank you so much.
We stay with politics, where the new Nigeria People's Party has refuted a report on an alleged attempt to hijack the party by supporters of its flag bearer at the 2023 presidential election. Rabiu Kokonso, in a statement by the National Publicity Secretary, Ladipo Johnson, described the reports by a former chairman of the Board of Trustees, Boniface Anyebonam, as a deceit and misrepresentation of the party stance. Ladipo established that the fact that Aniebunam has been expelled from the party due to overbearing activities which were inimical to the overall interest and growth of the party stands. He said Aniebunam and others have instituted a number of cases to challenge the party's decisions on the expulsion, but various courts have decided in favor of the NNPP as a political party under the leadership of Ahmed Aduji. He alleged that the disgruntled individuals have rather resorted to utter blackmail, deceit, and outright false misrepresentation of the issues. Away from that, chieftains of the ruling All Progressives Congress have urged the anti-graft agency to uphold due process in handling financial crime suspects. Head of Tinubu Media Support Group, Jesutega Onokpasa, voiced concerns in Abuja reacting to alleged misappropriation by ex-governor Yahaya Bello. Insists the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission must formally invite suspects with evidence, not via phone calls. While respecting the FCC's anti-corruption role, Onokpasa emphasized adherence to due process. Onokpasa highlights the importance of legal compliance to prevent societal disorder. He also faulted the FCC's claim of Kogi Governor Usman Ododo aiding Bello's escape.
The procedure in law for inviting, let's not even go up to the extent of a suspect, let's say a person of interest, is to formally invite them. And in law, we don't joke with documentation. We require a paper trail. Now, it is only if you cannot send someone a proper invitation by way of documentation that you might go by way of a phone call. In this case, former Governor Yahaya Bello is a former governor, for God's sake. How can the EFCC convince anyone that they could not have extended him a proper invitation in writing, so he himself would have documentation of the invitation? That would be his evidence. Then you call him. I mean, I've never seen it.
Let's talk about noise pollution. The Lagos State Environmental Protection Agencies temporarily shut down at least 5 churches and 19 hotels over noise pollution between March 23 and April 26. No fewer than 4 markets and shopping complexes were also shut down over noise pollution and other environmental infractions. A post shared by the State Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, on his X account on Friday, said various establishments, including churches, bars, and hotels in areas like Ifako-Ijaye, Abulegba, Alagbado, Command, Abeson Estate, and Dokwemu, were sealed due to noise pollution. Following the video of a young girl being bullied at Lead British School in Abuja, paramedics and stakeholders are calling for reforms in the educational sector. They emphasize the need for reforms aimed at cultivating a positive culture to foster positive attitudes and behavior among students. News Central's Joshua Marai tells us more.
The disturbing images of a young girl being bullied at Lead British International School in Abuja have stirred reactions and concerns among Nigerians. This incident has spurred Nigerians to call for reforms in schools.
We can still do something to save other children in order to give them maximum home training. And again, I think moral lessons supposed to be a subject in school, you know, that other people can learn, other children can learn, you know, because I believe is that it's what their parents imbibe in them is what they take to the school and to relate to their peers. And such incidents should not be allowed or entertained in any environment in Nigeria.
Stakeholders are urging the school to take necessary action in response to the incident.
In looking at the incident, we expect the school to also come out to tell us what their steps will be, what are the actions we're going to take. Because many times, everybody focuses on the bully. That's not where the problem is. In any bullied situation, there are 3 actors. You have the bully, you have the victim, and you have the bystander. or the enabler, because they were bystanders there, they were enablers there, and they all played a part. So it's important to know that these three people need help.
They are also calling on schools to instill a positive culture in their pupils to promote socially friendly behavior.
Every school must have a positive culture that is fostering the skills, the attitudes, and the behaviors you want to see in a child. That's number one. Number two, you get cases where many schools are not run by professionals. Even the setting up of the schools, we're getting to the place where we must have a charter that establishes the fact that if a school is going to be set up, it will be set up by a well-known, experienced educationist, or you bring in the certificate of one that supports you to set you up.
Behind me is the Lead British International School. This school recently found itself in the spotlight not because of its academic achievement, but rather a bizarre case of bullying. Recently, the school was sealed off after a video being shared online showcased a girl being repeatedly slapped by a classmate. This is just one of many cases of bullying. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Away from that now, in an effort to achieve zero hunger and improved food security, experts have called on government to assess Nigeria's current intellectual property laws and explore avenues to adapting them to achieve self-sufficiency in food production. This was during a session to mark the World Intellectual Property Day in the nation's capital, Abuja. Again, Joshua Imarayi tells us more.
It was a gathering of stakeholders and food security experts as they convened to commemorate the World Intellectual Property Day in the nation's capital, Abuja. Participants called for a change in strategy to achieve zero hunger nationwide.
To achieve zero hunger, therefore, requires a change in strategy. My humble recommendation here is to demand that the international community should rethink the issue of access to patented but desirous technologies and innovative solutions that can increase productivity of smallholder farmers by providing funds to pay for these patented technologies and making them available for uninhibited use by our farmers.
They emphasized on the need to achieve food security, urging government to change the strategy to achieve food sufficiency.
The key dimensions of food security that are of interest are mainly the issue of availability, accessibility, affordability, the right nutritious content, and all these happening on a sustainable basis. To achieve this, there is great need to assist farmers and other value chain actors within the agricultural land ecosystem with innovations that are affordable and accessible to increase their productivity.
Some of them commended government's efforts in working towards making food available for all.
I know that the government has placed a big priority on addressing food security as a central component of this renewed hope agenda, and it also sits at the core of the UN's collective partnership with respect to the government realizing the SDGs in Nigeria. We're therefore delighted to be able to host this seminar on the occasion of the World IP Day to spotlight the significance of innovation and creativity to the realization of SDG 2 in Nigeria.
Innovation and creativity breeds more when intellectual properties are protected. The protection of this right boosts creators' confidence, gets recognition for properties created, and helps innovators provide better inventions to the world. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Coming up on the news, President Ramaphosa praises ANC's achievements ahead of crucial election. Details to come your way shortly. We now take you to East Africa to tell you that 76 people in Kenya have lost their lives to floods triggered by torrential monsoon downpours since March. The government revealed this on Saturday, warning residents to brace for even heavier rainfall. Kenya and its East African neighbors have been battered by stronger than usual rain in recent weeks, compounded by the El Nino weather pattern. Flash floods have submerged roads and neighborhoods, leading to the displacement of more than 130,000 people across 24,000 households, many of them in the capital, Nairobi, government spokesman Isaac Umwara said on Saturday. Umara said all 5 dams comprising the 6 Forks hydropower project along the Tana River, Kenya's longest, were at total capacity. Now, April 27 every year, South Africans come together to celebrate Freedom Day, a day set aside to celebrate independence from white supremacy and slavery that lasted for centuries. Freedom Day 2024 marks the 30th anniversary of South Africa's democratic dispensation and commemorates the nation's first democratic election on April 27, 1994. Celebrated under the theme, 30 Years of Democracy, Partnership and Growth, this year's Freedom Month celebrations hold special significance as they also coincide with the 28th anniversary of the enactment of the South African Constitution as the supreme law of the land. News Central's Bongani Siziba was on the streets of Johannesburg and filed in this report.
I'm in the vibrant streets of Johannesburg, and South Africa today is commemorating Freedom Day, a day that reflects on the journey towards democracy and the sacrifices made for freedom. As South Africans honor this day, I ventured into the streets to speak to fellow South Africans about what democracy means to them and whether they believe it has truly worked. Let's hear their perspectives.
Genuinely, I don't think we are completely free, because until we realize the right to free decolonized education in South Africa, I don't think we are free. As a university student, I'm standing here today knowing that there are some peers that are financially excluded, academically excluded, and are not able to access tertiary education the way they're supposed to.
I think we're not entirely free, because considering the fact that we say we are a democratic country, whereas there are also issues that we face that we were facing before democracy occurred. And even now we have a lot of problems that when we are approaching the next elections, there are things that need to be addressed that the government is not even addressing in their manifestos.
The voices of South Africans on the street echo the sentiments of a nation striving for more just and equitable society. As they celebrate Freedom Day, it is evident that democracy has made a profound impact, yet there is a collective call for further progress and unity. I am now at the Constitutional Hill, a place steeped with history and significance of South Africans, where memories of South Africans fighting for their freedom are preserved. The stories and resilience of determination displayed here serves as a reminder of the importance of South Africa's democracy.
30 years and I'm 28 years. I'd say mostly it's partially worked because I'm in the business sector and I've had the opportunity to explore in other endeavors. But for most of South Africa, I don't think the freedom we spoke of 30 years ago has really worked.
Freedom here is very present. I've been able to practice my culture, my religion here without any issue. And today we are celebrating the Freedom Day in South Africa, and I think that's something that South Africa has achieved in terms of freedom.
What does freedom mean to many South Africans, especially those that fought for freedom? I'm at the Constitutional Hill, where more than 20 or maybe dozens of those who fought this war are still camped here, waiting for the president to come and address them. They want the reparations that they were promised, but 30 years down the line, they have not got anything.
Namhlanje langa le Freedom Day thina asinalo. Thina sihleli kabuhlungu lapha kumanje nje sivalelwa yonke indawo. Asikatholi imali yethu lesifuna sikayifumana. Asina freedom thina bakhululekile ke abakhululekileyo thina sikhululekanga.
There is no freedom to this country, especially for the victims of apartheid. We was fighting for this freedom, and our president know about that. These old mothers was defend our president at Katlong.
As South Africans commemorate Freedom Day, it is clear that democracy has made a significant impact in their lives. However, there is still progress to be made to ensure that it works for all. From Johannesburg, for News Central, I am Bongani Siziba.
Still coming from South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has praised his country's progress under his party's leadership as the nation marks 30 years of democracy ahead of a pivotal election, with polls scheduled for May 29, commemorating the end of white rule in 1994. Ramaphosa highlighted the country's advancements since then. Speaking at Pretoria's Union Buildings for Freedom Day, he underscored improvements overseen by the ANC, despite the party facing challenges in maintaining its parliamentary majority. Ramaphosa cited achievements such as land reform, infrastructural development, and expanded access to essential services. However, an Ipsos poll indicates declining support for the ANC, raising concerns about its electoral prospects. From other continents, we tell you that 3 police officers were murdered early on Saturday in a Mapuche area in southern Chile, victims of an ambush on the day the anniversary of the police institution is commemorated. The police officers were found burned inside a police patrol en route in the town of Canete, near the city of Concepcion, about 500 kilometers south of Santiago. The area is under military guard due to the arson attacks that have occurred there, mostly attributed to radical Mapuche groups, the largest Chilean ethnic group, which demands the restitution of ancestral lands. The attack took place the same week that the justice system found Hector Nlatul, leader of the Coordinadora Arauco Mayeco, one of the groups that has claimed arson attacks in the area.
Tenemos los mejores equipos acá trabajando en la investigación y vamos a seguir enviando más personal porque esto no puede quedar impune. Matar a un carabinero es matar el alma de Chile. No tengo registro en mi historia de 38 años de servicio de la muerte de un carabinero y no 1, 3 asesinados de forma cruel el día de nuestro aniversario. Esto no fue casual, esto no fue al azar. No puedo estar más dolido, más triste, con rabia. Una rabia profunda. ¿Por qué nos matan? ¿Por qué nos siguen persiguiendo? ¿Por qué nos siguen atacando? ¿Por qué nos siguen generando tanto daño si solo lo que hacemos es tratar de contribuir a la paz de este país?
A bit of business now. The Nigerian equities market declined on Friday with profit taken in several stocks following a flip-flop trading session. The market capitalization, which opened at 55,520 trillion naira, lost 9 billion naira or 0.02% to close at 55.511 trillion naira. The all-share index also dropped 0.02% or 16.4% to close at 98,552.91, in contrast to 98,169.30 recorded on Thursday. Consequently, the year-to-date return on the index slipped to 31.27%, while the market breadth closed negative with 19 losers and 18 gainers. Analysis of the market activities showed trade turnover settled lower relative to the previous session, with the value of transactions down by 22.92%. In sports, the Ondo State basketball team has emerged the winner of the Southeast basketball competition, which took place in Umuahia, the Abia State capital. The team will be representing the Southeast region at the national stage later in the year. Coach of the victorious team, Victor Ogugwa, said it would ensure the team remain focused until the end of the national tournament. The Abia coaching crew, on their part, are sure to consistently prepare the athletes despite losing out in the competition.
Going around the entire state in the Southeast region, we started from Enugu, which we came down to Imo, Anambra. By special grace of God, and now we are in Abia. We rounded off Abia, this tournament here in Abia. By special grace of God, I have my team topping the table. We've not dropped any game yet, you understand. We've been unbeaten champions. We've not lost in all this tournament we've been playing. We're topping the league, and show you how prepared we are. You understand?
Okay, what I intend doing is to intensify training and to put them and shape them more.
We are trying to raise a team for the state, and that's what we've been doing, and bringing them up and participating in this competition has been one of our targets.
Basketball at the state will move forward. This is a Southeast competition. We have gone for 3 states. This Abia is the 4th state. Without this rim, we couldn't have the power to.
South African football club Mamelodi Sundowns have qualified for the 2024-2025 Club World Cup season despite their elimination from the African Champions League. Sundowns will take up one of the 4 African sports in the 32-team lineup for the tournament from June 15 to July 13, 2025, as FIFA expands the size of the event in an attempt to take on UEFA for dominance of the international club market. The African slots are for the Champions League victors from 2021 to 2024 and previous winners Al Ahly of Egypt, who are also through to the tournament. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we take a look at some of our major stories. Governor Fubara visits site of Inferno, promises aid to victims' families. Death toll hits 76 after heavy rainfall in Kenya. We also told you that South Africa's President Ramaphosa praises ANC's achievements ahead of crucial election. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. And also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.